I'm working on a framework for Void Control and other games that will allow some convenient network play that should be robust enough to not actually need a central network. I'm using libgdx, which uses WebGL to make HTML clients fairly conveniently, and that will allow the apps themselves to host their own thin client that people can download no matter where they are. All they have to do is log into the device the app is on and download the client. I already have the browser on my phone loaded to the home page, and I just have to enter to get the thin client loaded and running. There's a rendering issue on the phone. If the app's not in focus, it won't render. I'm probably never going to fix this because I want the app eventually to be able to host its own multiple players within the client itself. So there would never be any need to actually run a browser alongside your app on your phone at the same time like I'm doing now for this demo. Right now, the only thin client's the HTML version. I made that one first because it needed WebSockets and couldn't use threads. Now I'll connect with Firefox on the desktop. I'm running Chrome on the Android. They both work, regardless of platform. This is just the browsers I'm using right now. They are the only two browsers I have tested. Obviously, I still need to test Safari and make sure it works before I can consider the framework done. The completed product would host jars and APKs as well because I want to limit battery drain for the thin client users. But I'd hate for a player to invite someone to a game and then they can't play because Apple doesn't let them sideload apps. So some platforms will need the HTML5 and they'll just have to tolerate the battery drain. So we can see that movement here goes to the server on the phone, which updates the connected clients as any networking game should. I'll now fire up the full program on the desktop. This is basically the same program that we started on the phone. When they start, they search the network for a server. It'll find the phone and connect to it automatically. The phone didn't have a server when it started up, so it just hosted its own server and connected to that. This framework will bring spontaneity back to games that we've lost ever since we stopped playing with a deck of cards. Only one person has to bring a game for everyone to play. This is exceptionally important for phones without SD card slots, and the users have to be choosier about what apps stay on their phone. Lastly, this could be used for low latency TV out for non-graphically intensive games. Since rendering is done after the Wi-Fi, you don't need to send as much data.